The gender pay gap. What does the data really say? The gender pay gap has been a hotly debated issue for years, drawing attention from political parties, research institutes, grassroots movements, and advocacy groups. At the core of this debate lies a pressing question: why do men and women continue to earn different wages for their work, and how large is this gap really? When we speak of the gender pay gap, we refer to the difference between the average earnings of men and women. The figures often cited, typically ranging from 15% to 25%, seem alarming. These estimates imply that women earn significantly less than men for the same work, a situation that has sparked campaigns for better pay equity and fairer working conditions for women. The situation has been highlighted in research publications, media reports, and political discourse, and it is often presented as a reflection of broader gender inequality in society. But how accurate are these figures? Is the gender pay gap truly as wide as the public debate suggests? Denmark, known for its progressive stance on gender equality, provides a valuable case study to investigate this issue more deeply. Denmark's labor market data, which is comprehensive and can be linked to various other data sources, offers a rich opportunity to analyze wage differences between men and women with precision. Despite Denmark's strong record on gender equality, being ranked first on the Women, Peace and Security Index by Georgetown University and 23rd on the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Index, there are reports that even in this egalitarian society, women earn approximately 15% to 18% less than men. These reports have been unsettling for many, particularly given Denmark's reputation as a leader in promoting equality between men and women. This discrepancy has raised concerns. If a nation like Denmark, where gender inequality is considered minimal, shows such a wide pay gap, what does this mean for other countries where gender disparities are more pronounced? To explore this further, we embarked on a data-driven investigation into the gender pay gap, using detailed and extensive Danish labor market data. Our goal was to determine whether the widely reported gap was as large as claimed and, if so, to uncover the factors contributing to this discrepancy. The dataset we used covered more than 2.5 million active individuals in the Danish labor market, across 728 different occupations, allowing us to have a broad and representative sample. We focused on hourly wages as the primary measure of earnings, as opposed to gross earnings, to avoid skewed results due to differences in hours worked. We removed individuals with unreliable or extreme data, such as those working very few hours, people in temporary positions, or individuals whose wages were significantly higher or lower than typical ranges. We also excluded business owners and extreme wage earners to focus our analysis on comparable, salaried employees. In the end, after removing outliers and refining the data, our final sample consisted of 1,070,993 individuals spread across 487 different occupations. This provided us with a rich and comprehensive dataset to explore the pay gap in depth. When we looked at the raw data, without making any adjustments, we found that men earned an average hourly wage of $37.60, compared to $31.70 for women. This $5.90 difference represented a 16.5% gap, almost identical to the figures reported by media outlets and advocacy groups. This gap seemed to align with the commonly held belief that women earn less than men on average. However, these raw numbers do not tell the full story. One of the key factors influencing the gender pay gap is occupational choice. Men and women often work in different fields, which vary in their earning potential. For example, many women in Denmark work in healthcare, where roles such as pharmacy technicians and midwives are predominantly female occupations. In our data, 100% of pharmacy technicians were women, and 99.8% of midwives were female. On the other hand, men are overrepresented in fields like deep-sea fishing and chimney sweeping, where women made up less than 0.5% of the workforce. The significant differences in occupational choices between men and women clearly contribute to the observed wage gap. In order to isolate the true gender pay gap, meaning the portion of the gap that remains after accounting for various factors like occupation, education, experience, and industry. We conducted a series of statistical regressions. This allowed us to control for a wide range of variables that influence wage levels. We included factors such as the individual's years of experience, tenure with their current employer, education level, the hierarchy within their workplace, and even personal factors such as marital status and the number of children. We ran the regressions on the occupational level, allowing for each of the above factors to have different impact depending on occupation. Thus 487 regressions. By accounting for these variables, we aim to remove the wage differences that could be explained by non-gender factors, leaving only the unexplained portion of the gap. After making these adjustments, we found that the gender pay gap shrank significantly. The difference between men's and women's wages, after controlling for observable factors, was only 95 cents per hour, a mere 2.7% of the average hourly wage of $35.70. While this gap is still in favor of men, it is a far cry from the 16.5% originally reported. What does this smaller gap mean? It suggests that much of the perceived gender pay gap can be attributed to factors other than gender itself, such as differences in occupation and career choices. However, the remaining 2.7% gap still indicates that women, on average, earn slightly less than men, even after controlling for these factors. There are also other factors that we could not fully account for in this analysis, which could further reduce the gap. For instance, while we focused on hourly wages, men are generally more likely to work overtime than women, which may inflate their overall earnings. Additionally, many women face wage penalties related to maternity leave, as they often step away from their careers at critical points when wages typically increase. This motherhood effect is known to have long-term impacts on women's earnings, and some studies suggest that it even passes down to future generations, with daughters prioritizing family over career in ways that could affect their earnings. In conclusion, our analysis confirms that a gender pay gap does exist in Denmark, but it is much smaller than the figures commonly cited in public discourse. After adjusting for various factors, the pay gap between men and women is about 2.7%, not the widely publicized 16.5%. This suggests that while men do tend to earn more than women, the difference is not as large as many advocacy groups, politicians, and media outlets claim. It is also important to note that our study focused purely on wages. We did not investigate other potential areas of gender bias, such as discrimination in promotions or leadership opportunities, which could further disadvantage women in the workplace. Despite the progress made, there is still room for improvement when it comes to achieving pay equity. Our findings highlight the importance of taking a nuanced approach when analyzing the gender pay gap. Simplistic comparisons of raw wages without accounting for other factors can give a misleading impression of the scale of the problem. As we continue to work towards a more equitable society, it is crucial to consider both equality and equity, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to succeed in their chosen career path. Thank you for watching.